So I've been thinking about doing this for a while, sharing some end of the day thoughts that generally pertain to golf since I'm a PGA golf coach and that's what I do for a living. But um, there may be some other things that kind of work its way in there that have to do with life lessons, and we know that as golfers, we know that um, it's intertwines with life. Golf and life intertwine, and there's a lot of things that we can learn through playing the game and enjoying the game and having disappointments in the game and the whole gamut that happens when we play golf. So I wanted to focus on that. And it may be a reoccurring theme when I do these videos and post them out there. But so it's Sunday, October 30th. Generally, Sundays are a busy day with lessons. And again, I'm a coach that works with primarily uh, youth. Most of the time with private coaching, it's going to be teenagers that are at some stage of their development as high school players. They're trying to find their way into high school. And man, that's a tough age when we're talking, you know, 12, 13, 14 and on up. Um, we talk about the difficulty of the game in general in terms of the mechanical side and the technique side and how we have to perfect that to become successful. And we usually equate success with a score on a scorecard and playing in a tournament. And that's our measuring stick. A lot of the times, students of mine may hit the ball very well, but get some unlucky breaks or have a bad hole or two or three bad holes. But in general, play well, strike the ball well, execute fairly well. But those two or three bad holes can kind of inflate that measuring stick that we tend to gravitate towards, which is the score on the scorecard, the final tally where you place in the leaderboard. And that's not always something we should focus on. It's a tough game, man. It's a super tough game, but there's just so many good things that come out of playing golf. Like I said, a lot of the things that we have to go through on the golf course are things that we have to go through in life, coming through adversity and the highs and lows and the ups and downs that we have to go through on the golf course definitely mirror what we have to do in life. So I think one of the biggest challenges for teenagers, without question, isn't the mechanical part. That's tricky in getting them to a point that they want to be and building on that, and these layers that we have to build on with all aspects of the game, full swing, short game, putting, that's tough enough. But I think without question, the toughest part is the mental / emotional side that comes with the golf, particularly the emotional side, because as teenagers, they're dealing with all kinds of things. They're dealing with a lot of cases pressure of doing well in school because how well you do in school kind of sets the table for what's going to happen uh, for college and for career. And kids know that. The kids know the importance of doing well in school. So there's that pressure. There's pressure at home from mom and dad, as far as doing your chores. I'm a dad. I got a 17-year-old and a 13-year-old. Making sure that they stay on task and do the things they need to around the house, which ultimately, as parents, we hope that helps them become better adults once they move into adulthood, start working, have families of their own. So it's always these learning lessons that we're trying to teach our kids. And so we've got all these things going on in a kid's life, and then a kid happens to stumble upon golf and they have some success, and now there's the big part of golf, which is the emotional side, which they're already dealing with a lot, as I just said, outside of golf. So I think some lessons for parents are, be a fan of your child through the ups and downs. Don't kind of go to where a lot of us as parents go to, where you know, we want them to do so well that we
They get in the car after the tournament. We're like, so why'd you make this decision on 15? And what happened on 16? Or what'd you do over here on or whatever the case may be. I think that's one of the last things a kid wants to hear when they get in the car after a tough day on the golf course. So I would refrain as a parent from having those conversations. Let the kid be the one that kind of initiates that. If they want to talk about it, they want to talk about it. If they don't want to talk about it, let it be, and they'll bring it up when they're good and ready to. Uh, Setting expectations. I know that's something that a lot of coaches and instructors and people that have been in golf for a long time they talk about that a lot. The importance of having realistic expectations, and what happens when we kind of get those expectations too high, based on where we are at currently with our game. And then when things start to go a little bit sideways, maybe it's in the first couple of holes, or you're playing well for the first few holes and you hit a bad stretch midway through the round. It's tough when those expectations are, man, I'm going to go out there and shoot a 72 today because this course is short, or I had a good practice round, or I'm hitting the ball real well. And when those are the expectations and you haven't shot that 72 before, um, that makes it difficult. How do you handle adversity at that point when you've built up in your mind, this is what I'm going to do today? It's good. It's good to set the bar high. There's no question about that. I'm not saying that it's not good to set the bar high, but it's a delicate balance, because if you're not able to handle the emotional side, the mental side, when things, kind of go a little sideways and you've got this goal in your head, it really can cause some issues on the golf course. So it's a delicate balancing act. I don't think I have the answer of what's correct or not correct, but I do know that you got to be careful in how you set those expectations. So that's another thing. Again, parents, how we deal with bad days on the golf course after the fact, that's one thing. Let the child kind of be the one that dictates on when you have those conversations and when you go over, the analysis, post round analysis. It could be a couple days down the road. And two, to manage those expectations, because again, as teenagers, the emotional side is tough. And then, for the teens, it's important that if you want to set that bar high, then you need to be prepared to do the work, put in the time. And I don't just mean going through the motions. A lot of kids go out there and go through the motions, but I mean putting in the work in terms of making sure every part of your game is something you work on a consistent basis, and it's going to be sharp for tournament play. One thing that I really believe in terms of tournament play is, if this is the path that you choose to do, you want to compete and you want to get better at competing. One of the things you can't do is bag it. When things go bad, you can't just, during the course of a round, when things go off the rails a little bit, don't just pack it in. Always push to the finish line. And another thing is, if you have a bad stretch of a couple tournaments in a row, don't don't withdraw from that next event. You just keep pushing. It takes a lot of reps, competitive reps, to get to where you want to be competitively and shoot the numbers you want to shoot in competition. Um, it might sound counterproductive to some that, my son or daughter has played 5 tournaments and shot in the 90s each time. I just don't see this being beneficial to keep doing it. If they're putting in the time, putting in the work and shooting good scores, outside of competition, they need to keep competing and just pushing, and things will fall into place. Um, for the most part, kids that are doing the right things as far as preparation and practice, just need to keep pushing through. Competition's a bear. It's not like playing with mom or dad recreationally on the weekend, or playing with your buddies, a casual round. It's not the same thing at all. There's a lot of things that creep into your head during real competition. So my advice is to just keep pushing, keep competing,
and things will get better the more you put yourself into those situations. That's how we learn. We get into the heat of competition, and you just keep pushing, just keep trying, and eventually things will start clicking. You'll start having things go your way eventually. Um, so yeah, those are my thoughts for this Sunday, October 30th. It's a tough game, like I said. There's a lot of things you need to be sharpened to play your best. But at the same time, it's rewarding. It's a very rewarding sport that can take you a lot of places, even if it's not playing at the next level collegiately or professionally, as some people dream about. There's just so much that you can gain from this game outside of the game. So those are my final thoughts. Keep working hard, set that bar to a level that you can achieve. And yeah, talk again soon.